into that in just a moment, how you can help eradicate something that's affected everyone from every corner of this planet from an indirect way or a direct way. That's on the way as V Week has begun. Hang tight for more on that and everything you can do to help. The NFL is trying to help itself here and avoid a Week 18. But fellas, look, this game between Pittsburgh and Baltimore now scheduled for tomorrow at 3:40 p.m. Eastern time, not exactly under the lights, has been moved from Thanksgiving night to Sunday to Tuesday to Wednesday. Oh, by the way, the league has now rearranged 3 different games in a span of 24 hours just to make sure things can be equitable for the Steelers, who are now caught in this mess for the second time through no undoing of their own. Remember, the first game delayed week 4 against Tennessee. The Titans had the outbreak. This time, obviously, as you know, the Ravens do, and the Steelers have been paying the price on both particular sides. Why do you think, Key, they're continuing to push this back from Thursday to Sunday to Tuesday to Wednesday, playing the game almost a week after it was scheduled to be played?
Well, first of all, they got to get the game in. They want to get the game in. That's number one. Then the economics of it. Remember, this was supposed to be the Thursday night Thanksgiving game. Mm-hmm. Everybody's full, sitting on the couch, bellies are fat, they're watching game. Right. They're going in and out of the sleep pattern before they get some more turkey. So they had to kind of push that off. And you start to think about it, they want to make money, but they also want to get the game in because they don't want to have to push to week 18 and take up that space between the bye and the Super Bowl. So I kind of understand what they're doing. It's just interesting how they're doing it. Every single week seems like they're going to have to make decisions on what to do with games. They've moved 3 games. Something could happen here in the next several days or next week, and now they're going to have to move some other stuff around. So I think it all boils down to they want to keep the schedule where it's at, and they also want to make sure that they're fulfilling that obligation for that money.
I think it's BS. I think it is so unfair to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Key. It really is. Somebody internally, a staffer, was disciplined by the organization for this supposed outbreak, right?
Baltimore, yep.
In Baltimore. So I sit there and I say, okay, well, the Broncos were forced to play their game without their QBs, without some of the players, obviously, that were in that team meeting that didn't wear a mask. So you reprimanded them, but you're giving the Baltimore Ravens a pass, even though somebody internally within the organization was the one that kind of committed this fault, that put them in this situation for an outbreak. Why do they get a pass and they're now allowed to wait multiple days? And now you have tight end Mark Andrews, you have outside linebacker Matthew Judon, you have wide receiver Willie Snead, all placed on the reserve COVID-19 list Monday, which means they actually will be able to probably play by the time this game is on Wednesday. So if you're sitting there as the Steelers, you're like, well, we could have played this game without half this team, pretty much won the game, but now we have to wait, and players are getting healthy. Players are going to come back. It just seems like it's unfair for the Steelers that they have to suffer when other teams are forced to play earlier. I don't understand the reasoning behind it.
A lot of things are fair, Jay, as you know, in life in general.
Only Ingram and Dobbins are eligible.
But when you look at it, Denver's position is 3 guys versus 20 guys.
Correct.
I mean, it's a huge difference.
And Denver was isolated to one position group. Baltimore all over the roster.
So it's a difference between, much like Z is saying, Denver is isolated to one position group, which was the quarterbacks, 3 or 4 of them or whatever it was. And now you got 18 to 20 guys in Baltimore. So you basically have taken essentially half the Baltimore Ravens team away from them. So they're trying to give them time to get back, get healthy or whatever, as many as they can to get back on the field.
I understand that, but why does that have to be at the fault of the Steelers?
Well, it's not at the fault of the Steelers. The Steelers just happen to be the team on schedule.
Yeah, the team that's undefeated, the team that's trying to win a Super Bowl, and now they're going to be forced to play. I know it's
they're going to be forced to change their schedule again when they were supposed to play on Thursday. Now, all of a sudden, they moved it to where it is now, a week later, basically, on a Wednesday.
A Wednesday at 3:30 p.m.
And then they got to come back around again, I think, and play on a Monday. Mm-hmm. So
3:30 p.m. game on a Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't think we care about the time, though, right? I mean, as a player, I don't really care about the time, right? I mean, I don't. I mean, if you say, let's go at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm sure Big Ben will be ready to go at 8 o'clock in the morning.
one guy that's protecting Big Ben is the Steelers offensive lineman, Zach Banner. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Keep in mind, the NFL expanded rosters from 53 to 55 guys. They also expanded the practice squad. Essentially, that means you can have way many more guys available to you every single week, just in case something like this were to happen. So Zach Banner was on Freddie and Fitzsimmons on ESPN radio last night and essentially said, why up the roster number if we are going to continue to delay kickoff?
At some point, there has to be a decision made that we're going to play this game. Like, I just don't see how, honestly, and this is how kind of most of us feel, we just don't understand how the whole Denver thing, like, I understand, like, you know, there's been people getting tested every single day. That probably is the only rational reason. They, you know, they're not sure if there's any more contagious people over there. But, I mean, Denver's just played without any quarterback. You know what I mean? They just brought their guy up off a P squad. So I thought we have extended rosters for a reason, but that's just me.
No, and Zach, big Zach Trojan, by the way, USC.
He won't play, but he's obviously repping the guys that are going to play and say this is why we expanded rosters, just for this eventuality.
That is true, but the rosters are not expanded to the degree of the type of all the players that you're missing. They don't have. I don't even know all the position groups in Baltimore, but just off the top of my head, it's not like they got 3 running backs sitting on the practice squad. It's not like they got several offensive linemen. Yeah, they may have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of these, but they don't have, it's not a whole entire new team that you can pick from. There's only a couple players that, you know, they may have a couple defensive backs, a couple linebackers. You know, it's not a full 53-man roster of practice squad dudes.
Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. Also keep this in mind real quick. Let's just say for whatever reason this game didn't go off. Obviously, they're doing everything in their power, as Key and Jay said, to make it happen. At the end of the season, let's just say the Pittsburgh couldn't play 16 games and they finished 14-1. Let's say they just lost a game somewhere. The Chiefs have lost a game, but let's say they play all 16 and they're 15-1. I think the Steelers would have a gripe over the number 1 seed, the only team that gets a bye. On the other end of the spectrum, nobody cares about this. Even if you're the 2 worst teams in the league, it's easy to say just cancel the game. But think about this. From a draft position standpoint, if you play 1 less game and you lose the game, at that point, losing a game is like winning because it helps your draft stock. So every team in the league could be caught up in all of this. Look at a team like Baltimore that's just stuck in the middle trying to make the playoffs if they don't have that extra game.
I'm supposed to lay out here, so I'm just going to lay out.
Still to come. He's seen it all in Philadelphia. So how bad is this iteration of the Eagles compared to everything that's happened in Philly before? That's next. It's V Week. It's underway on ESPN. Bye.